I don't like that side. We'll go back over here. So have you ever been stuck at a landfill or had to call somebody, get somebody to tow you out, or had a flat tire, had to call roadside service? Well, I've chosen not to have to go through that again. Today we're going to go over the Airdown system, do a full walkthrough, how everything runs. I've only had it for 2 weeks, so I mean I can't really give you a whole lot on it as far as the getting out of the mud and all that stuff. So, but it's wintertime and the springtime will be here pretty soon, and we'll get a lot of rain in this area over here. I know a couple years ago, the first part of the year had a lot of rain, so I'm looking forward to not having to have as much risk, having more tools to be able to get out of situations and save me time and keep supplying dumpsters to customers. And this is what I'm hoping will help with that. And I'll give more life experiences as they happen with the Airdown system and give you updates throughout my experience with this on my truck. So I put it on, I've got a 2025 Mac, got it from Keystone. So I called the Airdown guys and met them at the dumpster showcase that Josh Roman put together. And so went to the 2025 dumpster showcase, met Dan, and we scheduled an appointment after the show, got his number and information, and called him after the show and met him at Keystone. And Keystone let us use one of their bays, let me use one of their bays. And so he had Dan brought somebody with him, and we did this install, all three of us. And like one of the techs at Keystone was helping out. We had to make some, everybody's truck's different. So some of the mounting brackets on here are custom. They make them kind of universal, but everybody's bolt patterns are different and stuff for this arm that holds the airline that supplies the tires. So on mine, we cut one ear off on one and cut the other ear off on the other, to make it fit because of anyway. So we got all that done at Keystone, and because I was helping out, I wasn't going to do any filming so I could be more of an asset to the install. So we ran the lines. So I guess we'll just start outside. So ran the lines up and down on this side here. So we zip tied everything. We put the splitter here for the left and right side. And they've got these hoses over the air hoses on certain kink points, just where it wouldn't rub. So it's got that real heavy, kind of like a water hose around there. The lines run in. It's got a hollow tube for the air supply to come out through this. And if I would have had a tandem truck, so all the equipment's the same. If I would have had a tandem truck, that we wouldn't have installed the plug. We would have put another air supply line with another tire mount system here. So the way it works, this is a bearing that allows this to swivel, or it'd make a real big mess. And then this supplies air. So we took the valves out, the valve stems out, and attached these air hoses And then you have your backup valves right here. And then your grease point that doesn't have to be greased, but every 5 to 10,000 miles. So that's not going to be a big issue. And the reason it's messy around some of this is it was just a little over greased from the factory. So the first initial driving, the momentum and stuff had that excess come out. So I kind of cleaned it up a little bit. And then this one goes to the inside tire, and then the same on the other side. Really? And then my dogs won't stop barking because the cat's over here getting all the attention. And, obviously the same on the other side. Same grease point. Both your backups. Lines to the inside tire. Outside. And that's those hoses that are around these air lines to keep any of the friction rubs down. And at the show, I'm not going to do it, but at the show they had a video that showed somebody standing on this line, because I'm like, okay, well, this is hanging out. We're all back and forth at the landfill. We know things get snagged, and that's what we don't have underneath our trucks or anything, any loose hanging hydraulic lines or anything, because things get snagged. So they had a guy on a video standing on this on a tandem and using this as a step to get up into the truck, or on the side, just bouncing on it, just to show the resilience of the threads and everything. So they made it sturdy enough to where they stood behind. If it won't rip out the air. And if anything like that happens, I would just cut off these quarter turn valves here, and then the air supply in the truck, in the tires, will be maintained. So, always a little backups for those kind of things. So we run everything, and because I've got the air up system and the air down system they're pretty similar, except that I got the air down system and it gives you a little more flexibility. So that's if I had the air up system, I'd have a little thing mounted here and everything would be outside the truck. I'd have everything, and then all these air lines that go back to the tires would come up to this, and it would sense a set pressure rating, a set PSI, and it would keep the tires topped off. But because I've got the air down system, we ran, and I was going to the show anyway to look for dash cams, something for the truck. Just got the truck. I don't want to end up in a situation, and, it's better to be prepared and not need it, than somebody's always going to blame the big truck, regardless if you're in a 3/4 ton or if you're in a Mack or a tandem or single axle, you're going to get the blame because you're the truck. And then, he did it. He swerved over. I didn't want to have to defend myself without having some kind of proof. So with the air down system, I have a 4-camera system that we installed with it. So this is the DEF, Christmas time for DEF always. So the nozzle, I'll go and get it at a station. I don't have the jug, use the jugs or anything. So, and the nozzle's so thin, this gives me plenty of room to be able to fill that up. So I told them where to mount things, and I wasn't worried. So I've got that. I've got a rear camera, and then we mounted another side camera here. And then I've got the camera in the front right here. So they said if anything happened, stuff flies at the front of your truck all the time. So they left me some slack, and it's got the little connection, little pigtail connection here. So if anything happens and I need to replace that camera, it'll be a simple little plug and play. I'll cut the zip tie out, take the bolts out, replace that. So then we went into the cab right over there. So let's check that out. And my dogs will not stop barking. Put that here. So here we are. This is the system in the cab. You know, we have this box where everything comes up and ties in. I should have gotten on the other side, I think. But here's my DVR. It's got a lock for the memory card for the DVR. And everything comes up bolted in. This thing's bolted in the floor. And it's got a analog gauge, so I can make sure it matches with the screen, with whatever's on the readout of the screen. So let's walk around the other side of the truck on the passenger door and check the screen out, because we had to run the cameras into that and had to plug it in. So here's the back of this screen. So mounted it, kind of like the bullet mounting systems that I use for my GoPros and for my phone. It's kind of that same thing, just that little ball joint there. And so we kind of tucked it under here, all the wiring for the cameras and the sensors. There's Lily. And got it all plugged in. So this thing's all set, and it stays pretty good. It's pretty solid. I mean, the bracket on it's real thick, because it endures a lot of bouncing. And, you know, I've got my updated handles for my actuating pieces on my jib. So let's start it up and we'll show you how it runs. So, got to trade places with the old kitty cat. And that's why the dogs are going crazy. All right. So, at night, we take those quarter turn valves and shut them off on the tires, just to keep everything isolated. And then when we turn on our truck during the day, it'll remind you of that additional part of the pre-trip. You can see it without the glare. There's the Airdown logo. Come up with that. Ensure the valves are open. Give you an accurate readout. Tell you whether it's inflating or not on the tires. So then I got my cameras here. And the screen isn't the quality of the cameras. So it's an okay screen. You can see everything plain enough. But then when you go to pull the video for the camera, then it's gonna be the normal quality as the resolution on the playback from the memory card, from the chip. So I've got these settings. Let me take a break and run it back. Try to shoot this with the glare. So I've got settings and they're all customizable. My highway setting, I got it at 105 PSI. So if it drops down to 99, it'll pop off and raise the air. if it goes up to 110, then it'll reduce the air pressure. So in the winter months, when it's cold and it airs up the pressure to the right pressure, and then as the tire warms up, it'll automatically reduce the pressure with my system, with the down air system, the Airdown. So, and then I've got highway, so if I'm got a heavy load, I can reduce the air pressure to 80. I don't have this much glare in the real world, but this thing is not being nice. So I've got the deflate symbol here, and then there's the air pressure. Muddy, I wanted to drop it down to mud. I've got an off-road setting that drops it to 40 psi, and then a sand mud setting that drops it down to 20. I guess that's helping a little bit. Takes some time. The other day I ran this, and so I was running it, and it had rained a little bit, and I was at the hillside, and so I lined up my dump, so I pulled forward and turned and backed in, got lined up to back into my spot, and then I hit the off-road button to drop it down to 4. Gosh. Excuse me. So I hit the off-road button to drop me down to 40 psi. It was a little slick. It wasn't bad, but you know, I just got the system, wanted to try it out, so I lined up my spot, hit the off-road button, excuse me, backed into my lane, raised the tarp up, put my reverse camera on the top of the can, and then got in, and it had already made the descent down to 40. But you know, by the time I dumped and then needed to drive back, so that wasn't bad. I mean, it takes time, but it's, you know, it's not a big huge line to just release all the air in a few seconds. So we're down to 50. So all in all, it took most of the day for the install. I'm sure if I'd had some more practice on being a better helper where I could know what to expect, know what's coming next, it wouldn't have taken as long. But we got all 4 cameras installed, got the lines run, got everything zip tied and away from any kind of pinch point. Run everything in the cab. We had to pull all the dash off, this part of the dash and this part of the dash, because they tie in. It has safety features for, you know, you don't want to be driving around and forget to add the air back to your system. and be driving around with 20 psi. So just like my PTO, the truck came with a system where anything over 1500 RPMs will disengage the PTO so I don't burn it up, which has kind of been nice getting used to it, because I forgot the first day, just because it wasn't a habit, and then I think I've forgotten 2 more times since then, and just for a short distance down the road. And then I'm getting in a hurry, get a phone call in the middle of something, and then I drop the can trying to explain, what best dumpster to use for the application for the customer when they need it, trying to pull us, trying to finalize a sale, and then start heading down the road and I forget to turn the PTO off. So I've done that a few times. So this system has it wired in, so we had to, I don't remember, but the guys connected it to somewhere on the truck, so the RPMs and the speed is transferred to the system. So when I get up to a certain speed, that the RPMs aren't, the speed's transferred into the system, and if I get up to a certain speed, it'll click, so it won't let me run off-road up to a certain mileage, and it won't let me run the highway. If I'm highway loaded and I drop the pressure down from 105 to 80, it won't let me get over 65. If I get over 65, the system automatically puts me at the highway pressure and adds air to 105 psi from the 80. So this is the same way for this one. So we're just about there. But it saves you time if you can get out of a mud hole and you're stuck and you're spinning your axle, your tires, and 5 minutes, 10 minutes is for the air to release and give you more traction to get up out of a spot is way better than an hour or two and a $500, $250, $500, $700. Mine was $250 in my 3/4 ton for a call, just to have somebody pull me out, and I just needed a little more traction. So overall, if I can do that and keep from having to get any kind of roadside assistance for tire changes, I've changed 18 ply tires, and those things are pretty stout. Well, these tires on this truck, I don't really want to be picking up and trying to jack this thing up on the side of the road and changing a tire. Not that I even have a spare. So the system will add air if I have a flat tire or a tire that's going that way. And the record I've heard so far is 16. Somebody had it on their system in Florida, and they were running it and seeing how far they could get it before the system could no longer keep up. And I think the count was 16 or 18 nails from the landfill before the system couldn't keep up with adding air to it throughout the workday. And then they went and got it changed, and that was the nail count. So on a positive side, so we're here at 22. So on the positive side, that's, you can get done with your busy week, and you can schedule a tire change. You can schedule a flat change and all that. So you pick it on a day where you don't have anything going on, or you have the least amount, or where you could afford to be down a truck. So I'm a single truck driver. I'm a owner operator, and downtime to me is no time. I don't have anybody that could possibly be any kind of a backup for me. So there's that. So it's just really beneficial for me as far as being able to limit what can cause me to have a whole day off. If I got up in the morning and one of my tires were flat, I mean, I've got options. I've got a backup trailer that I could run. But I mean, if I have a busy day, I've got the truck. The truck is way more efficient than the truck and than the Ford and the trailer. And it just, the system for me makes the most sense because I don't have any kind of a rescue plan. I mean, I've got the trailer, yeah, but so that's kind of, and then the roadside, you know, being stuck, that's the biggest thing, I guess, for me. Not just waking up in the morning, because I can get the 3/4 ton and get the Cam Concept trailer and dust it off and work a full day. But if I'm out somewhere, get out of the landfill's, you know, 15-20 miles from my place. If I'm on the way home and I've got a leak and it's going down pretty bad, you know, that'll shut down, and then I'll have to get somebody to go out there and change it. So for me, the investment there's a lot of peace of mind. And you know, the busier I get, the more things that I can put, like icans. When I added icans, that was a big deal. Now I don't have to go through every 3 or 4 days looking through my pictures and getting my timestamps off from customers and figuring out who's up and what day which dumpster needs to come back, or get reminder calls. I just open icans, I see all my stuff in a line. It's just, you know, items like that. So the Airdown system for me is just another piece of equipment added to my truck that's more peace of mind. So we're going to drive down the road and I'll show you how this, so we're at the 20. Okay, nobody's coming. If it'll hold up there. I don't know if you can see the screen. There it is. So I'm at 30 miles an hour, over speed control, and it popped me up. So now it automatically added air to my system. So if I forgot to run it, I got up to 28, 30 miles an hour. Pull in here in this parking lot, and then it automatically added my air. Put the truck in neutral. And if you're going down the highway, it'll add it pretty good because it's based off of RPMs that runs your tank. So I'm going to run that RPMs up on the truck. System pressure low, so I'm at 44. of a slow process, but sure does beat waiting for anybody. My arm's getting tired sitting out there. So that's the system. That's the air down system. I know Josh got the air up system on one of his trucks. But Keystone let me use one of their bays to put this stuff in, which was nice because it was the high of that day, I think, was 41 degrees, north wind, rainy, misty rain all day, so it was nice to do it somewhere inside in concrete. All that, didn't have to worry about sweating because it was a nice cool day. But the Florida guys were a little cold. So Keystone is going to so that's the air down system. So I know that Keystone was in the work and talking back and forth with the air up, air down, and they were talking back and forth about being a rep or a dealer for an installer for them. So I know if you get, more than likely, if everything works out and they get good feedback from customers that have these systems, that more than likely Keystone will be able to offer that with their new trucks, to be able to have that as an addition, as an upgrade to the truck. So I'm really excited about that. You know, I've dealt with Keystone for everything. I got the Can Concept trailer, the hook trailer from Josh Roman at American AF Trailers, and then I've got all my dumpsters. I've got all 15, just added one more a couple weeks ago when I picked it up when I got the air down system installed. So I've got all 15 dumpsters and the truck from Keystone, and then the air down system was from the air down company at Keystone that we put it in. So that was nice to be dealing with one person, one group of people for everything I need, all the dumpster needs that I have. I know I use Kim Industries for my tarps, and then everything else is all Keystone, and couldn't be happier with the service and the equipment and the quality. So this is about back to where it is. I know I stopped revving the engine for a little bit, but back up to highway mode. So we went from what, 22, 23 PSI to 105. So that is the air down system. That's the one that I got installed. So far, I couldn't be happier. So just, stay tuned. If you have any questions, leave me a comment. I'll be happy to answer all your questions about the system. And I'll put a link in for Keystone if you're looking for any kind of trucks, any kind of roll-off. I know they make customized dumpsters. I've got all mine. The Texas flag dumpsters. I know they make custom sizes. Mine are combo cans. So if I need help, heavy can. I know y'all seen some of my stuff where I've had to have some help from local people. Some guys put a bunch of gravel in my dumpsters, and they're rating like 13, 14 tons. And they have cable trucks, so they use those. I use the hook, and that way if I'm in a jam, I don't have to put it on toast. So there you go. But they make different sizes that aren't standard rail. If you're running Texas Pride cans, Keystone will make Texas Pride size dumpsters for you. Or if you're running the Max D, they could run the 60-inch rails, whatever you need. Colors, plenty of color options. You don't have to be cool like me, And trucks, beautiful trucks. They've got singles, tandems, hook lift, cable trucks. They run trailers. They have the new, I think it's Swap Loader came out with a new hook trailer that's battery powered. I think they have one of those. I know they had one a month ago that was there at their lot for sale. I think it's still there. I'm going to put their information in the link in the description, and Airdown system, I'll put their information in the description, so you can contact either place, or you can leave me a comment if you have any questions on the system, and I'll be updating whenever I come into situations. I'll keep everything updated about how the system's treating me. So that is Airdown. Y'all be blessed.